The best laid plans. The original concept was to film this out on the balcony where it's still 30 degrees and it's whatever it is, 10 past 11 at night in Singapore. But because of a rock concert that's going on in the park down there, I thought it better to shut the doors because of all that business with rights music and everything. So I hope you can hear me okay. Hope you can't hear too much of the music going on outside. I say music, it's a fairly loosely used term there. And behind me, though, you can see a bit of the skyline of Singapore. Amazing always to come here every year and to see this place come alive. Formula One wise at night, although FP1 of course is held during the afternoon in daylight, so it's rather strange to see the cars in daylight, but they look great under lights of course. And here we are yet again for another rendition of the Singapore Grand Prix. We left off from Baku with Oscar Piastri scoring a great win for McLaren-Mercedes. Lando Norris finishing P4, bit of an unfinished symphony there because he didn't get through, he didn't get out of Q1, as we know. He came in because of that yellow on the last lap. But before that, both McLarens had come in with 5 minutes to go anyway, probably for fuel. And that meant there was too much pressure on him to get that time in Q1. Oscar did, Lando didn't. That was it, end of story. Drove a really good race, of course. And now we're coming to Singapore. Yet another street race with long straights. 3 DRS zones now. There's a third DRS on that long straight leading up to the last 2 corners. Well, there used to be more corners, but it's now another DRS zone. So I'm just going to keep going here. Messages keep coming up on the screen. I'm filming this on my phone rather than on the normal system, so I hope everything's working out okay. Not because it's more simple, but I think it just gives a better angle, really, of what we're looking at. So, yeah, Lando, just putting that behind him, super, super quick today in FP1 and FP2. Particularly FP2, when he put on the soft tyres, just blew everybody away. I don't think we should read too much into the margin over Oscar because it looked to me like Oscar was kind of waiting for the track to come to him today. Green, street course, why not? He'll be okay tomorrow for sure. But Lando right into it, no errors, that lovely rhythm that he's had for all his life, certainly from Formula 3 onwards when I started watching him, which we saw in a case study mode in the Miami Grand Prix, and now all these races on in Singapore. Just beautiful to watch out on the circuit. Fabulous to watch indeed. If he'd been the only car on track, would have been fun watching Lando Norris driving around today. Really, really good. Charles Leclerc, just, you can tell he's just stretching that Ferrari a little bit further than Lando everywhere, but nonetheless superb to watch as well. He would have been annoyed by Baku. Here we are less than a week later, under a week, only 5 days after Baku, and Charles there looking to show the world that this is going to be his Grand Prix. Carlos won it last year, of course, in the other Ferrari. This year, Charles can see that victory for him, and he'll be going for it, no question. As I say, you can just see him stretching the car a little bit more, just nothing, no dramas today, but nonetheless, it looks to me like the McLaren is the slightly quicker car as it was in Baku. Everybody about on a par with top speeds here, and top speeds aren't insignificant around Singapore because of these 3 straights and the DRS on that last straight, the new DRS zone. And that's an important part of the circuit, of course, leading up to those last 2 corners, which are dramatic corners, 6 down to 5th and then 6 again, double apex left. Carlos looking fabulous as well in the other Ferrari, Carlos Sainz, looking like a guy who's just going to be there as he was in Baku, particularly on the hard tyres at the back end of the race. But Yuki Tsunoda and Daniel Ricciardo, quick all day in the Visa Cash app. Hondas, the B team, the Red Bull B team, quicker, dramatically quicker than both Red Bull drivers, Red Bull A drivers, Sergio Perez and Max Verstappen in that order. Max, not good in FP1. The thinking at Red Bull at the time was that this is a session that's a little bit out of the general envelope of the Singapore Grand Prix weekend because it's under daylight, it's hotter, when the track is a little bit cooler, and it wasn't by much, just a couple of degrees cooler. They felt that Red Bull would be there or thereabouts, or the car, the RB20 would be there or thereabouts, and yet it wasn't. It wasn't on the evidence we saw today. Max, not impressive at all, looking as if he couldn't get the car into corners, looking as if he had that, it's not understeer, he just got no feel for the front of the car at all. And Sergio Perez saying exactly the same thing as well. So not a good day for Red Bull. To give them the benefit of the doubt, it is only Friday. There is time a little bit to work on the setup, but it's going to be more than setup. Max said after Baku that they felt that they'd gone a step too far before qualifying. There's nothing they could do about it in Parc Fermé, but obviously they get it right coming here to Singapore. Similar circuit. You would imagine that's where they'd be or thereabouts, but it doesn't look to be that way at all. Mercedes also in trouble, tyres overheating. Lewis Hamilton complaining about not being able to get the car into corners as well. Understeer by any other word. And George Russell right at the end, just a couple of minutes from the end of FP2, going straight on. Well-worn medium tyres at that point, shouldn't put too much store on that. But again, an indication of how hard they're having to drive those cars to get any sort of lap time out of them. So it is amazing how Red Bull and Mercedes coming and going, which is kind of not so amazing, although if you relate them to the progress McLaren have made, it is, and Ferrari for that matter. But Red Bull just seem to be getting further and further back. So it's going to be really interesting to see how they perform over the weekend, if they can pull something out now. But it looks to be a very hard slog. And just talking to a few of the Red Bull people now about Adrian leaving, and what a shock it was, really. I mean, they got this sort of news and hasn't really spoken to a lot of the guys I spoke to. Said, well, I haven't really spoken to him since Miami, and he's just gone off, and nobody can really understand why he's done that. Leave Red Bull to go and work for the Strolls. I mean, it seems a rather odd thing to do, but certainly it's something they're going to have to work around. And in theory, the team is a well-oiled machine, and it should be able to continue. But right now, I'd say this is the most worrying moment yet we've had in the whole saga, because until now you could have said, well, as Max said after Baku, well, if we got the damping right, whatever it was, we'll be okay. But here they are, both cars struggling like crazy. And Max went out, did a second run on his soft tyres just to see, but he couldn't even get a lap out of them. They'd gone after one sector. And then on a fuel run, he wasn't quick either. So Lando really quick on fuel, Charles Leclerc not too far behind him, but the story of the day undoubtedly was Lando Norris. So the speed of the Visa Cash App suggests there is a little bit of magic somewhere in there. That I say magic, and some intangible that suddenly comes right from one circuit, not necessarily to another, but every other circuit maybe. They're all on the soft range of the Pirelli tyres, as remember. Not that that's significant either, because you'd imagine if the Visa cars are quick, you'd imagine the Red Bull A cars would be quick. Williams are quick again. Alex Albon and Franco Colapinto looking really good, comfortably quicker than Red Bull all the time when I could see it, as were the Haas Ferraris. Very good. We got Kevin Magnussen back in that team again after Ollie's great showing. Chatting to Mark Slade actually yesterday, who was running Ollie in Baku, he said, oh yeah, he's quite disappointed because if he'd managed the tyres a little bit differently, he would have been P8. I said, well, he was in the points, mate, Relax, it was a good drive. Aston Martin not very good either, 12th and 14th. But down with Red Bull. I mean, what is this? What is going on? And then, of course, the Alpines and the Saubers. So relatively short one tonight because it's so late. And also because Singapore does change a lot from Friday to the weekend. So we shouldn't read too much into anything, but I would read a lot into how good McLaren are at the moment. It's just incredible how good that car looks. I was watching Lando coming through those last two left-handers at one point, and he was doing one of these things where he's off the brakes and the throttle and just for a millisecond and just got the car settled. It's just beautiful to watch there. Really, really good, full of confidence, looked relaxed in the car. Just really nice to see. Be interesting to see tomorrow, though, whether or not in Q1, they bring both McLaren drivers in yet again with 5 minutes to go for fuel, and how light they run them in Q1. I think the penny will have dropped now, and I think they'll be running them a little bit more fuel in Q1, just to make sure they can be out there at the end, just in case things get out of skew at all. So that's what to look out for, I think, as McLaren go into qualifying tomorrow. So there you go. Big thanks to Jetcraft, to OEM Exclusive, and to TrackNinja. I wish in a way I was able to sit here with my TrackNinja and watch qualifying from here and use all the data and stuff, but no, got to go to work in the paddock. Unbelievably hot here though. I mean, I walked to the track from here, as you can imagine, but there was a moment today I got slightly wrong. I don't know what happened. I missed a bridge. Anyway, I got slightly lost, I'll confess. And it meant walking like 400 meters in the sun without, because normally you can go through the shopping malls and stuff. And by the time I got to the track, I'm glad you guys are a billion miles away and you can't smell it, but this shirt was absolutely soaking. But anyway, here we are, we survived. So look forward to seeing you tomorrow, and thanks for watching. Take care.